Hello everyone. So in this video I want to show you how to um, decorate the cover of your journal. And I have a whole bunch of journals here of, I'll move them off to the side, but I'll go over them of how I have decorated, or I have a student journal too, how they decorated their journal cover. But the basic thing is that you have this journal and your assignment will be to cover this completely. So you want to fully cover this surface here. You can choose to do the spine and the back if you want, but that's not the assignment. The assignment is just the front here. All right, so there's a couple different ways that you can go about doing this. The first way is a collage. So I'm going to show you, this is a student's from a little while ago, a bigger journal. Okay, it's a bigger one. This is a student's collage, mostly with magazine images. This might be a sticker, a few stickers, but you can tell that this person liked motorsports, liked fishing, like vans. Let's see, I'm not sure what this is. Some sort of, I don't know if it's not a surfboard, but maybe a wakeboard or something like that. So they were really there's another vans thing. They're really into sports. They even liked, they put their favorite food, watermelon. Okay. So that is an option, which is collage with just magazines. And let me see, I have one that I've done. This is my cover for one of my books. This is Third Periods, and it is just magazines, and I used words and images and collage them on. I just use a glue stick. All right. And you can just glue them all down, but you notice there's no white areas. It's all covered. They're overlapped, and you just glue them down. Use a lot of the glue stick though, okay? So that is your first option. Another option is to take anything else and collage with it. So not just magazines. For example, if you have a lot of stickers, you could collage them. Now, what I did is I put the stickers that I didn't like as much in the background. I did a background layer, and then I put the stickers that I liked more on the top. Okay, so and it went a little bit here, and you can wrap them around, or you can just cut them off on the edge. Right. Another way to collage is using, here's one of mine where I used product packaging. So I don't know if you've ever had this candy, Hi-Chew, but that year I discovered that candy. I like Earl Grey tea, so I put that in there. I put some paint chips because these are the paints that I painted my daughter's the colors that I painted my daughter's room with, and anywhere where I had white space, I drew in the little areas. I used washi tape. This is a sticker. I kind of made a little scene of the tea bags falling into the teacup. I drew with Sharpie on it. So a whole bunch of things put together. I like to do this, so I have a whole bunch of examples of this. So here's another one from another year. This is a tea tag, and I'm not sure if I have any other things that are product packaging, but just another collage of things that I like. Here is yet another one. So I do one every semester. So I have a lot. This one's a little bit different though. I found a focal image, and I took some just book page, and can you see I cut out this image and then I put book page around it, and every image that I put around, I put book page around it like a little border, and then I glued it all down to this piece of paper and then cut that out and glued it all down. And again, I have my tea, I have things that I like to eat. There's a little Starbucks. These are my children. So you can put photographs Here's a Tootsie Roll Pop wrapper, things that I'm interested in, my name. You can also do your name. Okay, maps, all sorts of things like that. And then this one is a little bit different. I actually started by taking some of my washi tape collection and going all different ways with it. And then in each little negative space, I either drew something or I glued something in. Again, here's my T tags. This one I actually cut out. This is actually a window, and I taped it to the back. I did that for a few things, for this here, my daughter's handwriting right there. And so I just filled in each of the little blank spaces. This is just paint. I painted it in here, these blue, one of my favorite colors, and then just drew some doodles in the different negative spaces. It looks like I missed a few, but okay. The other thing you can use on your cover is watercolor. So for this one, I just put a whole bunch of watercolor up on the top, and I tilted it, and it just all ran down. Of course, I protected the book. I put kind of like a cloth over the book. And then I put this big sticker that I had over the top of that. And that fills the space. Yes, there is a little bit of negative space, but you need that there for the drips to show the drips. And I even did, if you can't see, there you go. I even did the spine. And then the last one I want to show you is this one. And this is the one I'm working on right now. I put a mandala on it. And I put, you know, the title of the class. That might be something you want to think about. And I put my name, but I put this cool background on. So I want to show you how I did this. I'm going to do this on this journal. So we're going to do a little tutorial here. All right, so the first thing to get started with this is you're going to get your supplies. And if you want to do this technique, if you don't want to do this technique, you can do a collage. That is perfectly fine. But you're going to need to pick out some markers that are the colors that you want. I think I want to do blues and greens. So I'm going to go through my markers and find my blues and greens. Now, you want markers that are water soluble. So these are like the markers that you would, that say washable. If you have a washable marker, that is what you want. You do not want a permanent marker. So Sharpies will not work on this. Okay, so let me get all of mine greens and blues. So you want to kind of pick a color scheme. If you do colors that are opposite on the color wheel, it will turn brown. So you definitely don't want to do that. All right, so here are all the markers that I'm going to use. And I'm going to get my transparency out. Okay, so got my transparency, got a little wet. Try it real quick. All right, and what you're going to do is you're going to draw with your washable markers all over the transparency. And you want to try to get as much ink down as possible. Okay, so I'm just using different colors, light green, dark green, light blue, dark blue. Looking for more blues. Here's another blue here. Okay. Then you want to get a dish with water and a brush, any kind of brush, and you're just going to lightly paint over the marker. And you can kind of see what's happening. It's kind of mixing and moving. Since it's washable marker, it is going to do that. Okay? More water is better. And if you have your own markers at home, or your brother or sister has some markers, or your friends have markers, this is great. See, you can see that that's on there. And then I just quickly flip it over and smush. Okay. That is layer number 1. So I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to come back when it's dry, and I'm going to do another layer. All right, so let's pause it until it dries. All right, it's mostly dry now. It doesn't have to be perfectly dry. I found some blue markers to make, so now that I have one layer, I'd like it to be bluer. So I'm going to add some blue in different spots. And I was going to say, if you, it's kind of the same blue. If you have, I'm going to try right now. I don't know if this will work. I'm going to try a Sharpie or a highlighter. Different highlighters are made with different things, but this does say non-toxic. So it leads me to think maybe it might be water soluble. I don't know. So I don't know about this marker either. I have no idea where this marker came from, but just gonna try. So I'm adding kind of like a blue layer, but you can add different colors in each layer. I mean, you don't have to stick with one color. Let me find, here, get different greens in here. Okay, you can go over them. Alternatively, you can just use watercolor, but if you don't have a lot of watercolor, this is a good alternative. And I think the reason I'm not getting much blue is because I'm mixing the blues and the greens when I'm adding water. So it's all a little experiment. And then this is just your background. And then you get to decide what you put on your foreground. It doesn't really, I'm going to flip it this way. And see, over here. Push it down. I have another little bit. That highlighter did work. Okay, let it dry, and I'm going to do just a blue layer on top, so I'm going to let it dry. All right, and so this layer, I'm just going to do some blue in an effort to get more blue in there, or turquoise. But as I'm doing this process, I'm kind of going, what do I want to draw on top? You know, what is this going to be? This is just the background. So it occurred to me that it kind of looks like water, or like the colors of a map, right? Blue and green are a lot of map colors. So I think I want to make this when I draw on top, I'm going to make it a map of one of my favorite places on the planet. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I'm just going to add some water here. This is kind of a bluer layer, so you can see you can adjust the color by layer. And I would never want to put red or pink on this green layer, because red and green make brown, unless I wanted brown. Okay, this over. Yeah, that looks super cool. So I'm not going to press it in very much because I like those just little areas of saturation. Okay, but I can kind of move it if I want to move it. Okay, and then I'm just going to let it dry. All right, so this is all dry, ready for me to draw on, and I'm going to first start with pencil, and I'm just going to draw something. You would draw your own image that you want to draw, and then I'm going to fast forward through my drawing, And then along the way, I will unfast forward and tell you what I'm doing because I'm going to bring back the marker and the water in a little bit. All right, so here we go. Okay, so I lightly sketched in what I wanted to do in pencil. It's an island. And so I'm going to take my marker now and I'm going to outline it. But when I do, I'm going to do a little section here, kind of outline it like that. And then I'm going to take my water on my brush and it'll kind of help it bleed out. So it'll make it a little bit fuzzy. And it will also spread some of that blue out wherever the water is that I put it. So I'm just going to do a little section at a time. It's a pretty cool technique here. So I'll fast forward it. All right, so there's the basic outline of my island. I know some of you have been to this island. Some of you, at least 2 of my students I know have relatives on this island. Anyway, the next thing of what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue adding more marks and softening them with the water here. So I'm just going to kind of keep going with this process until I'm happy with it. So one of the things I forgot to say is that you don't want to use your marker on a wet piece of paper because it'll take all of the ink out of your marker, and I just did that. So I have to wait for this side to dry, so I'm just going to do the other side. The other thing is wherever the water goes is where the marker is going to go. So if you get the water where you don't want it, you have to kind of blot it with a paper towel and let it fully dry before you go on. And now the outside here, I want it to be more blue. And so I'm not going to mess around with just putting this on the edge anymore because the edge is already defined. I'm just going to put some of this down here on my transparency. And then I can pick it up like water. All right, so that is the Technica that I wanted to share with you. I'm really happy with my results. Here is my island, and I'm not done with the cover yet. I want to think about it for a little bit. This is my other one that I did, you know, the same technique with the marker on the transparency, but you can see this one I drew in with just regular pen, and I also used my stencil here. And I just used my stencil with a regular pen that is waterproof. And then I went around the edge with the marker and the water. But I could go around the edge of this with colored pencil. I might choose to do that around the inside, maybe to make that edge between the water and the land a little bit more significant. So you can use colored pencils on these too, on these covers too. So it's really your choice. It's just figuring out what you want to do and then just starting and experimenting. All right, guys? So that is your assignment. Of course, I could spend many hours drawing on this, but I'm just going to end it there for you today. Okay, thanks, guys.